In here safe and sound for getting us through the week. We could do a little bit better than that. We could do a little bit better than that. We thank him for being a protector, a keeper, a healer, my help. We thank him for being everything. And it's funny because he knows how to fill in the gaps. He knows how to fill in the lack. He knows how to fill in the voids in your life. So I thank him for being a void filler and a keeper. Even those times when you don't think that you could be kept or you think that you can't be kept. But I thank him for just being there and being who he is. Thank him one more time as you're seated. But I'm going to be in Luke 15. I'm going to finish up what we dealt with on Wednesday night. We was dealing with the story of the prodigal son. And I mostly dealt with the ending of the story. Dealt with how when the prodigal son comes back home after squandering all of his wealth that his father gave him. Let me try this mic. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. I dealt with how he squandered away all of his wealth that his father gave him, and when he came back home, and how his father threw a party for him. And his brother, who was upset and who was angry at the fact that his brother went out there and did wrong, but it seemed like that he got rewarded for it. It seemed like that he got rewarded for his mistake. I'm going to say something that's a little crazy and a little edgy, but some of you all in this season of your life are going to get rewarded for some of the mistakes that you've made because at least you tried. I'm going to say that one more time. Some of you in this season of your life are going to get rewarded for some of the mistakes that you've made because you at least tried something. You may have had a jacked up marriage or relationship, but God is going to make sure that the next one is going to be the best that you ever had because at least you tried the first time. See, the problem that I have with church people is that we don't like to try stuff. Church people don't like to make mistakes. Church people don't like to do some things that may cause them to lose something in the long run. The church has taught you to sort of try to stay away from those places. But I like what Deke tells me all the time. There are some people that have to learn some things the hard way. And if you're willing to walk that walk of learning some things the hard way, God is going to bless you if you don't allow the hard way to kill you. That's why when the prodigal son came back home, his father did not punish him for doing wrong. His father rewarded him because at least you was man enough to leave my house for a little bit. And so when he comes back, his father throws him a party, and his brother gets upset and gets frustrated at the fact that it seems like that you're rewarding this cat. And I never did wrong in my life. I've always followed all of your commandments. I've always did everything that you asked me to do. And I never got a party thrown for me. And the father tells him in the last few verses of chapter 15 in Luke that everything that I've always had is yours. Everything that you've ever seen is yours. And we're rejoicing because your brother was lost and now he's found. We're rejoicing and throwing him this party because your brother was out there, but he found himself and came back home. And we talked about how on Wednesday that the reason why this story is so awesome that I wish was probably preached more often was how the story ended. The story ended weird because the father tells the brother that everything that I have was yours, and we're celebrating him and honoring him because he came back home. The story never says whether the brother goes back home and is still upset and bitter, and the story never says whether the brother gets over it and goes to the party. The story ends open-ended. It ends without closure. So on Wednesday, I talked about the importance of being able to live without having closure. A lot of us like to have closure in our life, especially in a relationship or when something catastrophic happens in our life. We like to have closure. We like to be able to have things solved, and we like to have things fixed. We hate having things left open-ended. We hate having things not having closure. We hate things ending in a way that there is no closure. And that's how we feel when we lose somebody. I was watching Nancy Grace one day, and I saw the lady who lost her daughter. Her daughter had been missing for 6 years, and everybody had presumed her dead. And she wanted to have the body back because she wanted to have closure. And it's funny because on Wednesday I talked about how there are going to be some areas in your life where you will never have closure. There are going to be some areas in your life where you will never be able to say that you had closure and that it was totally fixed. And you can't live your life trying to close something that does not have a door, that is meant to be left open-ended, that is meant to be left without closure. There are some people in here that grew up with jacked up childhoods, and you will never have an answer to why your family treated you the way that they treated you. Or you will never have an answer to why your family gave you up for adoption. You may never have the answer to why things happened in your life the way that it happened. And sometimes we have to learn how to get over why and just start dealing with what, in spite of whether we know why or not. See, if a tornado comes and destroys my house, I'm not going to be concerned about why the tornado came. I just need to be able to deal with the damage that's been done. And we don't know how to do that because a lot of us love to figure out why. There are some things in your life that you will never know why to. Jesus built a movement off of this story. He built a movement off of a story with no closure. And our problem is we don't know how to move on without closure. We get so hooked into having to have closure, and it's a dangerous thing because, like I said, there are going to be some areas in your life where there is no closure. And you just have to deal with the fact that this is open-ended and learn how to move on and build a movement without it. And see, it's funny because I was talking about on Wednesday the lady that I was talking to that had the relationship where the boyfriend cheated on her. And in her mind, all she wanted was closure. I just need to know why. Well, baby, you know that he did it. You know that he cheated. And you've been knowing it for a long time. And so let's not get over why, because contrary to popular belief, people don't owe you an answer for nothing. People don't owe you an explanation. Nobody owes you anything. The Bible tells you to owe no man but to love them. So if you're trying to find an answer and somebody's not giving you an answer, get over the fact that you're not getting an answer and just move on. See, we don't like that kind of talk because we like to be in the position where we can get answers and we can get things figured out and we can get things this and that, and that's fine, but I'm letting you know that if you live your life trying to get closure in every area of your life, you're never going to achieve purpose because there are things in your life that are going to be left open-ended. And if I can't get over learning how to live with issues being unresolved, I'm going to die not being able to live in my full potential. Y'all hear me tonight, this morning? It's important that you understand in this story that Jesus leaves this story unresolved and open. He leaves the story without closure. And I know there are people that's sitting in this building right now that can look over their life and see that they have some things in their lives that they don't have closure on. And it's funny, Helena, because there were some things and some areas in my life that I needed closure on. I needed God to be able to help me out with why things happen the way that they happen. And I never got an answer. And sometimes when you don't get an answer, it frustrates you and you try to do whatever is in your power to get an answer. If you've ever been in a relationship where you've caught somebody doing something and your thing was you wanted to get to the bottom of it, and this girl that I was talking to about this relationship that she was in, she just kept saying, I want to get to the bottom of it. I wanted to get to why he was cheating. So then she says, I said, well, okay, how did you manage to do that? What you going to do about it? She said, I just want him to be honest with me. I just want him to be honest with me. I just want him to tell me the truth. Okay, that's fine, but what if he doesn't? Are you going to keep beating a dead horse? Or are you going to move on and just say, I'm not going to get the truth, and I'm just going to move on with my life and handle my business? If you don't take the second option, you're going to be in trouble for the rest of your life, because he does not owe you an answer to why he did what he did. It's his body and his actions. Hello. I know y'all are together. I know y'all are in a relationship. I know y'all are committed. But at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do. And they don't owe you an explanation or a reason why they want to do what they want to do. See, if you always feel like you need an answer or an explanation to any and everything somebody's done to you, it's because really you are battling with insecurity on the inside. Can I talk for a little bit? You're battling with insecurity. Can I tell you something about insecure people? Insecure people, y'all hear me say all the time, one, they're the most clingiest people on the planet. I can't be with an insecure person because I don't like to be in a position to where I always got to answer every question that you ask when you feel like asking it because you feel like that you can't live with me doing something. I can't deal with people like that. So insecure people are clingy people. They're the type of people that when you go to the store in 5 minutes, if you don't come back, they calling you and trying to figure out where you at. The reason why insecure people bother me a little bit is because if I go to the store for 5 minutes, or if I go to the store for 10 minutes, you expect me back in 5, there is nothing that you can do about the situation. So you need to do one or two things. Either you need to get over it, or you need to learn how to entertain yourself. If you can't do either of those two things, you're in trouble. Because, like I said, people don't owe you an explanation or an answer to anything. See, true freedom is you learning how to be in a place to where what people do and what people say and what people try to do to you doesn't affect how you do and what you do. That's true freedom. True freedom is I can be in a relationship, I can have a friendship, I can be at a place, and it doesn't matter what the climate is. It doesn't matter how people treat me. It doesn't matter what goes on. It doesn't affect how I do and how I live my life. See, I can tell when a person doesn't have peace when they have chaotic situations in their life and they allow people and places in their life to dictate whether they're going to have a good mood or not. I'm married, and I've been with my wife for 10 years. My wife does not determine whether or not I'm going to have a good mood today. I don't care if she's grumpy. I'm going to do me and have a good day because she doesn't run my space. She doesn't run my circle. And our problem is we allow not having closure in areas in our lives run us. It runs us because we do whatever's possible in our lives to try to get an answer to an answer that is not, or to a question that is probably not meant to be answered. Look at this story for a second. Look at this story in Luke 15. This prodigal son asked his father for a whole lot of stuff as it relates to his wealth, because he's ready to leave the house and explore some things. Can I tell you what I got a problem with church? Church doesn't like you to leave the house and explore some things. The church wants you to be the prodigal son's brother that sits in the house all day and listens to what the father says and grow up feeling like they're missing out on something. The church wants you to be in a position where you're like the prodigal son's brother, where you serve the father all of your life and you do everything that he asks you to do, and you follow all of these rules and you do all of these things. The church wants you to be that and not the prodigal son. Because the church feels like that when you go out and experience certain things, that the church is going to lose its grip on you. And it's going to lose its grip on you because when you get a taste of freedom, you're not going to learn how to handle it. See, this is the problem, or this is the awesome thing that I like about the story about the prodigal son. He goes out and tastes freedom, and he doesn't know how to manage freedom, but he ends up coming to himself and coming back where he got started from. See, the church has to learn how to be able to trust what they put in you. Can I be honest with you guys for a second? The church has to learn how to say, okay, I put rules, I put regulations, I put principles, I put revelation on the inside of you, and now I'm sending you out. And when I send you out, you're going to experience some things, you're going to make some mistakes, you're going to do some wrong, you're going to get into some places and into some environments that you have no business being in, but it's cool because you still God's child. And not only are you still God's child, but your mistakes and the problems that you make, I'm using that as a tool for you to find yourself. Because you didn't know who you was when you was in the house. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Look at the story. I want you to read this when you get home. I want you to read the story, Luke 15:11 through 32, when you get home. If you look at this story, this prodigal son is in his father's house, and he says, I need to get my inheritance because I want to go out and experience some things and do some things. So he does that, and he leaves and he goes out. Now, it's funny because he spends everything that he has, and then a famine hits. And when the famine hits, he doesn't have any money, so he has to enslave himself. Okay? So he goes and he enslaves himself, and his job is to feed the swine and the pigs. And when he's in the middle of the swine, he says to himself, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the middle of swine, and I'm not a swine, I'm a son. So this is not where I'm supposed to be. But he didn't find out that this was not where he was supposed to be until he was in a place where he had no business being. See, it's funny because God will put you in a place where you have no business being just so that you can see for yourself that this is not what I am. And see, the problem is that you have to embrace yourself sometimes in a season of being in a place where you have no business being. Yes, you made a mistake, but at least you found yourself. Yes, you had some problems in your life, but at least you found yourself. Yes, you did some things that you had no business doing, but at least you found yourself. And sometimes you don't find yourself until you leave the confines of your own house. See, the awesome part about this story is, Sonia, when he makes the mistake and he's going back home, he says to himself, I need to get up from where I'm at because I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And on my way back home, I'm going to tell my father that I'm not even worth the inheritance that you gave me, and I should be a servant because of all of this stuff that I've done. Now, he has in his mind, Ashley, where he's supposed to be, and has no idea that his father, despite the mistakes that he's made, has a totally different story and observation about him. He has no idea that his father is saying to himself, yeah, my son made some mistakes and did some dumb things, but I just want the brother to come back home. He has no idea that his father is not trying to enslave him and work him off. He has no idea that his father actually has a party for him when he thinks, the son thinks, that his father is going to punish him. See, I'm here to tell you that the mistakes that you have made in your past is going to warrant you a reward and not punishment. Because at least you tried. Somebody say, I tried. I'm going to tell you why that's important. Because a lot of people don't try. They whine, but they don't try. They cry, but they don't try. You guys have purpose, dreams, destiny on the inside of you, but you never really try. You put yourself in a position to where you allow your environment and your climate and the people around you to dictate what you are and what you're not going to do. You allow what's in your bank account to dictate what you are and what you're not going to do. You allow what people have planted in your life all of these years to shape you and to mold you into something that you really are not, and it stops you from trying or stepping out and trying things. I'm here to tell you that if you try, God's going to reward you. If you step out and you try to make things happen for yourself, God is going to reward you. Even if you make a mistake, He's going to use the mistake to get you a reward if you find yourself in that mistake. Now, in this story, he comes back, the father throws him a party, and his brother is upset because he never had a party. The reason why you never had a party is because you never stepped out. You thought that brown nosing and sucking up, and you thought that you stroking the right ego all of this time was going to ensure you a party, and it never did. You thought that you saying the right stuff, praying the right way, doing the right this and the right that, you thought that all that was going to ensure you that I was going to give you a party, when in actuality, you could have had one all this time, but you spent most of your life living a life that you weren't finding any pleasure in, and it stopped you from having fun. See, who told you that being saved, there was no fun in that? The Bible tells you that we are all salt. And if the salt loses its savor or its flavor, that the only thing that it's good for is men walking on it. So if you say that you love God, but you don't have no flavor to your life, if you say that you love God and there's no savor to your life, if you say that you love God, but there is no pleasure in your life, you got an issue. Because you're going to find yourself in the prodigal son's brother's shoes where you're frustrated even though you're doing the right thing. Oh, see, okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Can we be honest for a second? Has the right thing ever frustrated you? Has doing the right thing ever frustrated you? Has doing the right thing at the right time, has always doing right frustrated you? Doesn't it frustrate you that when you do right, you still get the short end of the stick? Doesn't it frustrate you that when you do the right thing, that you still ended up being the one that's on the bottom end of the totem pole? Have you ever been in a position to where doing right frustrates you? I'm going to tell you why. Because most of us don't do right for the right reasons. Most of us do right to get something in return. If you do right to get something in return, you're doing right for the wrong reason. You have to do right because right is in your heart, not because you're looking to get something in return. Because if you're looking to get something in return, your motives is jacked up. You're not doing it based on passion. You're doing it based on obligation. Y'all hear me say all the time, I'm not going to buy you a birthday present because I want to get a birthday present when it's my birthday. I'm going to buy you a birthday present because it's in my heart to give it to you. If you don't give me one for my birthday, it doesn't matter because it was in my heart. That's the reason why I did that. We got too many people in this world doing stuff because they've been told that it's right, but it's not in their heart. And because they don't see the fruit of it, they get mad and frustrated and want to leave and start doing dumb stuff. What you do when you're in the prodigal son shoes, when brother's shoes, when you do right, but you're not rewarded, like how he is. If you got an issue with not being rewarded for your right, it's because you're doing your right the wrong way. Can I be honest with you guys for a second? When I do something for somebody, I don't do that because in a time of need, I need your help. When I do something for somebody, it's because I want to help you, and it's in my heart to help you. Now, what you do for me or not, I don't care. It doesn't matter what type of person you are. It doesn't matter what you did to me. If it's in my heart to do this, if it's my passion, now watch this. Reward comes because I'm doing it from the heart. But if I do anything out of obligation, I'm not going to get rewarded for it. Which is why if you are in a relationship and you're just doing right because you feel obligated to do right and it's not in your heart to do right, you're going to get frustrated and bored, and it's going to cause chaos in it. Because you're doing right for the wrong reasons. Don't not cheat on me because you are afraid of what might happen if you do. Don't cheat on me because you honor what we have and it's in your heart not to do that. See, we don't like this stuff. But I'm just being honest with you guys. See, the church don't talk about this stuff because we want you to do right all the time. And if it's not in your heart to do right, you get frustrated because you're not getting anything in return. And because you're not getting anything in return, you get frustrated, you get aggravated, and now everything's in shambles, and the church and everything else seems fake and not real because it ain't working for me like how it is everybody else. And the reason why it's not working for you is because it's not in your heart. See, don't ignore your heart in this season. I don't care who does not like what's in your heart. I don't care who has a problem with what's in your heart. I don't care if it causes people around you to start getting nervous and start not liking you and start not wanting to deal with you. I dare you not to ignore what's in your heart. You know how God makes your heart come out? He gives you pain. See, I'm going to talk for a second. Y'all hear me just for a second. See, pain, G, has a way of making what's in your heart come out. Y'all want to believe me? But I promise you, go through something crazy and then start saying, start telling how you really feel because now you hurting. Okay, see, can I give you guys an example? I go up to people all the time. How you doing? I'm fine. I'm blessed and highly favored. I love Jesus. Running for the Lord. 99 and a half just won't do. So I'm giving him 100. You know, I'm doing my thing. And it's funny because behind that, they hurt. Behind that is painful. But it's not enough pain to make them be honest. God, see, y'all, can we talk for a little bit? It's not enough pain for them to be honest. So when I go up to that same person and I say a couple of weeks later, how you doing? What's going on? Man, all hell has broke out in my life. All hell has broke out in my life. Why does he say now that all hell has broke out in his life? Because he got to a point to where he can't take it anymore, and now he know he just got to be real with it. Because I'm at the point to where I need help so bad that if somebody in this room got me, I need it right now. So instead of me sugarcoating it, instead of me being cute with it, instead of me walking around like everything is fine and putting on this facade, I'm hurting so bad that I have no choice but to be real. See, pain has a way when it's hard enough to make you say, ouch. And our issue is it hadn't been painful enough. So the reason why we haven't seen fruit is because we hide behind the pain. We hide our emotions. We hide our feelings. We hide our true, authentic selves behind the pain because the pain ain't hard enough to make me say ouch yet. So God says, since you can't be real with me now in this pain, let me make it harder. And if you can't say ouch yet, let me make it harder. God is going to inflict the pain until you say ouch. Y'all hear me? That's why it seems like some of us can never get ahead, because we've never been real enough with our pain to say I'm hurt while I'm hurting. See, it don't hurt bad enough for me to be honest with myself. It's not painful bad enough for me to be honest with myself. So with the little bit of hurt that I'm experiencing, it's hurting, but it's not hurting bad enough for me not to say ouch. Y'all see what's happening here? So it's funny how when I deal with people in relationships, the truth don't come out until pain and loss of everything happens. See, why do I have to lose everything and hurt this bad in order for me to be honest with myself? How long does he or she, have to do this to you for you to wake up and say, I'm better than this? How long does this have to happen in your life? How long does people have to do this to you and hurt you and do all this stuff to you for you to be honest and real with yourself to say, you know what? I'm done here. See, as long as you're willing to say it ain't so bad, it won't be bad enough for you to leave it. Y'all hear me? So what happens is God is like this. This dude's been the prodigal son's brother, who we don't preach about for some odd reason. We always pay attention to the prodigal son, and it's because there's a lot of revelation in his story. But the brother preaches to me because he doing the right thing, but he ain't getting rewarded for it. And the Bible does not say in the end how he responds to not doing or not getting his reward. The Bible don't say the Bible doesn't say whether he goes to his brother's party and says, bro, I'm happy to see you back home. The story does not end and say that he doesn't go to his brother's party. He goes back to his house and he gripes. Don't say that. It just leaves you open-ended. And I'm talking to people that's in this city that's going to hear us soon, that's in this city that are frustrated with doing right but always getting a bad result, not knowing that they're not doing right if it's not in their heart. Can I say something that's going to baffle you? Your right is what's in your heart, and that can be wrong to somebody else. See, y'all, oh, man. See, I'm going to say something that's going to baffle some people. This is why I can't stand when people say there's a standard. There's a standard, and everybody's got to follow this standard. Well, if it's not in their heart to follow the standard, two things is going to happen. They're going to do it halfway, or they're not going to do it at all. Well, there's a standard here so that they can live up to their standard. See, this is why I have a problem with that, because we don't understand. I got 10 minutes, and I hate this. We don't understand how expansive God is. We don't understand how so many different sides and aspects and all these things to God. God is so expansive and so vast and so much and so different in so many different ways that he can give you a revelation of something and give me a revelation of something. It could be two totally different things, but we can both be successful. He's so vast and so expansive that if I try to pin him down in one way and in one point and try to force everybody to live by that, I'm missing God in so many different avenues. See, I'm going to say something that's going to be kind of crazy, but the reason why you have to make a mistake is so God can show you his other side to his personality, which is grace and mercy. See, if you do everything right and you've never experienced anything rough and wrong and bad, you've only experienced one side of God's personality, which is not including grace and mercy. I let you go through something crazy just to show you that I'm there and love you there. I let you go through something crazy and idiotic just to show you that not only am I there, not only am I with you, but I can empower you there. That's why my strength is made perfect in your weakness. You don't know my strength because you try to stay away from your weakness. See, y'all missing me this morning. See, it's funny because the church tries to teach you, stay away from your weakness. And all you do when you stay away from your weakness is you negate God's strength and power there. God says, I want you to look your weakness in the face. Walk by it every day until your weakness don't have power over you anymore. Now, you're going to relapse. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to go right down. But I promise you, the more you live here, you're going to learn more and more about yourself. And you're going to find out that you don't need to live with what's weak. Because you're going to see my power and my strength and my authority there. The only reason why you keep going back is because you're dependent on your willpower and not God's. Y'all don't have, including this man with the microphone, you don't have enough willpower to say no to your weak stage 100% of the time. Can we be real? You don't have enough weak power. You got some good days. You got some good weeks where you can do real good, where nothing's even going wrong. You feel like you got power over it. But the next day, you are at your pit and you feel like that thing is calling you and you ain't got nothing else to do but to do it. That's the time when you say, God, it's on you. Because I can't do it. I don't have enough willpower. I'm in this pit with these swines. I'm surrounded by what I don't even like anymore. I'm surrounded by what I don't even feel good about anymore. I'm surrounded by, and man, I need your help because I know I'm not this. That's when you can get power over it because his strength is now injected into it because you're trying to be strong yourself in your weak place. It's impossible. It's impossible. So he says this. He says, this ministry is getting ready to talk to a people who's been doing right but seeing the wrong results. Been doing right because you were taught that right was what was coming out of somebody else's mouth, but it wasn't what was coming out of your heart. And what's coming out of your heart may be wrong to some people. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Can we be honest for a second? I'm going to be honest with you guys. When you start living from here, believe me, it's going to piss some people off. And excuse my language. But it's going to piss some people off when you live from your heart. You know why? Because there are people in your space that's not strong enough to live from their heart. Because they're concerned about what people going to say, what people going to think, how people going to respond, how this is going to happen. You guys, I am so far beyond worrying about what anybody got to say or think about anything that I do. That's why I can preach what I preach when I feel like preaching it. I don't care who is in the room and who is not. I don't care who likes it and who doesn't. I don't care if they say you got too much liberation and freedom in your teaching. You got too much grace and you don't concentrate on enough sin. So what? This is in my heart. And it's going to come out because the Bible says that it's got no choice but to come out of my mouth if it's in my heart, if I'm going to live this way. And I promise you that once you start living there, it's going to make some people upset. But the people that's going to be upset have no business being in your space in the first place. They were in your space because you was doing what they wanted you to do. I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. In this season of your life, your heart better speak. If your mind is speaking and your heart ain't on the same page, don't listen to this. Don't listen to this. You make your heart change your mind. Because you don't know how many people I talk to that live by their head and their heart is saying something different. You stand in this relationship because your head is telling you that God don't like divorce. But you getting your tail beat every day. But God don't like divorce. And you going through all this stuff and God don't like divorce. So your heart is saying leave, but your mind is saying stay. Your heart is right. I'm going to tell you why your heart is right. Because as long as you sit here, God is going to find out a way for his will to be executed. And what's going to happen is he's going to let something so catastrophic and so painful hit your situation until you say, I got to go. And I don't want that to happen because it could hurt you so bad that it's going to take you years to recover. What's your heart saying? You know how many people I talk to that go to a certain college because somebody, it was in their mind to go because it was been planted into them all their life and they didn't go where they really wanted to go, or took up a certain major because it was in their mind. They said, man, who you think you are taking up music as a major? Who you think you are doing sociology as a major? No, you need to do law. You need to go to med school. You need to do this. You need to do that. And it's not in their heart. And they end up flunking out because it's not in their heart. They end up getting a degree but not finding fulfillment because they did the right thing for the wrong reason. And now they're frustrated and they're aggravated and they're upset and they're on a job that they can't stand, trying to wait until they're 65 so they can get a retirement check and get into Social Security. You must be crazy in this season. I can't do it. I can't do it. I will not be in a position where I'm letting people put things in my head that is opposite from my heart, and then I'm living from my head and not from my heart. My heart's going to speak. Y'all hear me? I dare you to start telling people in your space what your heart is saying when they're trying to put something in your head that's against here. It's going to require you to leave some friends that you have had in your space all this time. So what? I'll leave you if I got greater coming. I don't mind leaving this because this, I'm not enjoying this anyway. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't a baller yet. So I don't mind leaving where I'm at in order to get the balling status. I ain't too connected to anything in my life that's going to stop me from pursuing the greater that's in my life. Either you coming with me or you not. If you not going to come with me, you weren't for me in the first place. If you coming with me, cool, let's take this ride. But regardless, I promise you, I'm not too tied into you where I feel like I can't leave. I love my family. I believe I got the best marriage on the planet. I don't care who think their marriage is greater. I think mine is the best. But I promise you, stand in front of this church. And I'll say it in front of Quinn, in front of my grandparents, in front of my mama. I'll say it in front of my pastor, whoever. I promise you, I ain't that attached to where I feel like I can't live without it. Because what happens if God takes it? See, we don't like to talk like that. We don't like to talk like that. But what happens when God takes what you feel like that you can't live without? I promise you what's going to happen. You're going to find out you can live. Yeah, you're going to find out you can live. You know how many people, Mama Karen, you know how many people I talk to that are at a place in their life where God took something from them, what they feel like that they couldn't live without? And it's funny because I have to tell them all the time, you breathing. Yeah, you may not be happy, but I promise you, you're going to get over it because God has something that can heal you more than any medicine on the planet, and that's called time. The old folks used to say, put time on it. You put a little bit of time on it, I promise you, you will get over what you thought that you could not live. I've talked to people who have lost parents and who have lost siblings and who have lost all, and they felt like that they couldn't make it. They were just at the end of their ropes. I was at the funeral and saw them jumping on the casket and doing all kinds of stuff, feeling like that they can't leave. And then 2 years later, they smiling, they talking, they having fun. Yeah, you still hurting because you missed what you was connected to, but at the same time, God showed you that anything that you can see with your own eyes, you can live without. That's why the Bible says that the things that are seen are temporal, but the things that are not seen are eternal. If you can see it, you can live without it. Y'all hear me? Oh, you can live without what you can see. You see your boyfriend, your girlfriend, I promise you, you can live without it. I don't care how it ends, you can live without it. You see your spouse, you can live without it. That job you looking at, you can live without it. Everybody that's in your space, you can live without it. If God take them right now away from you, you may hurt, but you can live without it because God got something that's going to work for your good, which is time. Every day that go by, you're going to get better and better. Every day that passes by, you're going to feel a little bit better. I know it's painful and I know it hurts now, but it doesn't matter because I got time. And it's on your side. Last thing, and then I'm done. Live from the heart. Don't be like the brother of the prodigal son, where you living from the head because you think that you got something good coming in return because you're doing the right thing. Because your right may not be the right that you're doing right now. See, your right may be you being in a position where you're saying, I'm going to do me, whether you like it or not. That's your right. Because I'm going to tell you something about people who, in my marriage, I do me and my wife does her. See, I'm so free and so secure within myself that it don't matter what you do, I'm happy. I'm happy because I'm happy with me. Y'all hear me? I love me too much to be upset and mad when I got people in my space that do things that I so-called don't like. You know why? Because I'm going to do what I like. Yeah. You got to be connected. You got to be connected with yourself so much to where when people trip, it don't make your day bad. Man, when I was in the military, I had, my flight chiefs and all them used to get on my last nerve until I start saying to myself, why am I letting them do that? Why don't I get to the place to where I'm so comfortable and so excited with me that it doesn't matter if it's raining outside, I'm going to go and put on a raincoat and an umbrella. It ain't going to stop me from going outside. Our problem is we don't know how to adjust. Can you adjust? You know how you adjust? Do what's in here. Do what's in here. You ain't been doing what's in here. You've been doing what's in here. It's about what mama and daddy taught. It's about what don't get me wrong. They taught great stuff. They taught awesome things. I am a living witness that a good mother and a father can teach you, and you can go and do great things and awesome things. That's wonderful. But everything that they taught is not going to match up with my heart. Y'all hear me? I'm going to experience and do some things that was against what they taught, but it's going to still work for me. It's going to still work for you because you're doing what's in here. Now, God has a way of doing something real funny. If your heart is wrong, he can change it. The Bible says he'll give you a new heart. He ain't got no problem with that. But still, your new heart may be a wrong and an old heart to somebody else. Stand up because I'm done. It's 12:30.